They should at least, throw up the checkered flag when they do the countdown like that. It would be so much more entertaining that way.
Yeah, because right now you have to see me go every time.
Yeah. I mean, not a bad thing.
You watch. Next time I
Um,
get on here, I'm gonna have a little flag and start waving it at the go.
I mean, how far are you from the raceway?
I'm within an hour of Charlotte Motor Speedway.
You could easily go to the speedway and get one.
Yeah,
Go to
and
the
honestly,
or
it's not even in Charlotte. It's in Concord.
oh, and they still call it Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, I don't know why. For a long time they changed it to Lowe's Motor Speedway, and then it went back to Charlotte.
Oh, um, welcome to the not so morning rant, not quite morning rant. Yes, it is 1 p.m. Uh, I had to wait until Chad was done doing, adult things, responsible things, working, doing all that shit. Um, Primarily because the topic today kind of hits a little bit close to him because he is a music hobbyist, and I don't think this particular story sits well with either of us. Um, so I wanted to kind of touch on this and kind of get some crowd feedback and see what you guys think. Um, Chad, I know I haven't really given you the full details of it, so I'm just going to go through the article and, or at least some of the article, probably not all of it, because Daily Wire, they just fucking write and write and write. So I'll go through some of it because it's probably all pretty self-explanatory. Um, so as per the Daily Wire, journalist Tim Pool announced Tuesday that he had his music yanked from the online audio distribution platform Bandcamp without any explanation. Pool told the Post Millennial uh, 3 of his songs were pulled from Bandcamp, and he's yet to receive an explanation. The journalist floated the idea of a class action lawsuit from fans who paid for his music and no longer have access to the platform, or no longer have access to it on the platform. Uh, Tweeted out, "Hey, look, our Bandcamp account is still gone," and they never responded as to why. The music platform also apparently leveled a ban on Five Times August, a band featuring songwriter Brad Skit. Okay, what is that name? Skistmus?
Yeah,
Skistimus?
schistomus. That's what it looks like.
Good lord. And I thought I was good at reading, people's names. An account for Five Times August on Wednesday suggested the ban could be political. Obviously, um, typically when they attack Tim Pool, it's because of his political and social opinions. Um, a little backstory on Tim Pool: he refers to himself as a disaffected liberal, meaning that up until a certain point, he considered himself a liberal, but he saw the way the country was going, and he saw the way the country was going politically under the leadership of the Demon Rats, and he basically said he could no longer support them because of the bullshit they were pulling. So then considered himself a disaffected liberal. He still holds a lot of traditional liberal values, like what you would consider a liberal, but liberalism today, and I know I usually don't get political, but when I do live streams and whatnot, but this warrants it. Um, People who call themselves liberal today are basically just very, very much far left leaning people, and it's I don't know, they're not all there in the head. I'll just say that. Um, so the article goes on to say, it quotes 5 times August has having a really hard time figuring out why Bandcamp would target and delete 5 times August and Timcast pages, and why their support manager wouldn't be getting back to us. The account sarcastically posted, along with a screenshot of a LinkedIn profile of the platform's support manager, who uses they them pronouns. I hate pronoun punks. Um Chad, I'm just going to warn you. I know you just ate, but I don't think you're ready to see what what is about to be on the screen, as far as the person that is in charge of support for the Bandcamp website. So I just want to warn you.
Okay.
Um that
Hold on. What the? Huh. I had to move since it's on top. It's
um
smaller than it was before, so I had to get closer. And I'm like, oh god, I wish I'd stayed back.
I know. It says oh wow, so it really is banned, BANNED camp, isn't it? The account later posted, captioning an image revealing the company blocked 5 times August Twitter account. Yeah, that's how far Bandcamp, the platform, went. Was they blocked 5 times August from even tagging them, and by Bandcamp means they'll delete your page without warning and then block you if you ask them why. It says, because if music heals, then clearly a system should exist that helps the broadest possible range of artists share that power with the world. So we built Bandcamp to directly connect artists to their fans and make it easy for fans to support artists equitably so that they can keep making music. Says the Daily Wire reached out to Bandcamp for explanation on both bands, but did not immediately receive a response. Pool reacted on Thursday to 5 times August ban, writing, maybe we should crowdfund a class action between all of our fans who can no longer access the music that they paid for. Um, this is the part that pisses me off. 5 times August responded, if they want to delete the artist pages and music on a whim, they're little little butthurt wimps that's fine. But to remove access from anyone who already purchased the music is theft, and that's really the bottom line of it. Um,
Yeah.
Says 5 times August seems to have caught the band in February. Similarly, without explanation, I had been on the site about 10 years. That's what caught my eye about this story and why I wanted to talk about it. I had been on the site about 10 years. The band told the Post Millennial. My entire catalog of music and my artist page scrubbed. I re-registered to claim my artist page again, but they've only put back one album for now. I wrote them about it and haven't heard anything. From what I understand, no other artists who this happened to have ever either. Uh, I have no idea what happened, but after 10 years on Bandcamp, they removed my entire catalog and signed me out as if I never existed. I just signed up again to reclaim my page. Silent War is available for now, but as a test. But if they remove it again, we'll know why. The band wrote back in February. Um, talk about more, but the reason, the main reason that I wanted to bring you on and talk about it, if you remember, and I know you probably haven't been back on the page in quite a while. Well, first I'll say this. With the original MySpace now only being for artists, technically, and it being not as user friendly as when we were growing up, um, it's hard to even create a fan or listener profile on there. I've tried a few times and it's too chaotic over there. They don't really have a good user interface over there. But they now obviously have Space Hay, which is it's not MySpace, but it looks like old school MySpace that we grew up with. Um, the only thing that they don't have on Space Hay is the music section that MySpace used to have. And so several months ago, I introduced you to Reverb Nation, which is something I had heard about probably back in 2007, 2006, 2007. And I think that fascinated me more than the uh, music part of MySpace. So, of what you've seen of, and I'm guessing you've probably never been on the Bandcamp website.
I never heard of Bandcamp until that article.
So there's Bandcamp, and then there's a website called CD Baby. And what they do is Bandcamp, you can actually um, buy the music from artists right off the Bandcamp website. But what it additionally does, as well as CD Baby, I believe, is it does the same thing that God, what is that website? We haven't been on the podcast in so long. I forgot what that website was that we use. Buzzsprout. There we go. It essentially does for music what Buzzsprout does for podcasts. It allows you to push your content out to the larger platforms. It acts as kind of a middleman. So Bandcamp and CD Baby, are kind of one and the same as far as what their function is. But and I don't know with Reverb Nation if you can actually buy music from them, which they probably should. They don't have it. But as a music hobbyist, what is your take on this, I actually have to get rid of this so I don't click on it again. Remove. There we go. Because I don't know, you don't have any of your music posted anywhere that I'm aware of. Is that correct?
No, I mean, I've got me playing my guitar on my YouTube channel, and there's
Which I
one
still
song.
don't know the address to.
Do you
You'll
not?
have to give me that later. No,
Okay.
you'll have to give me that later.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of it's just me playing some covers, and some of it's just me playing my guitar for like 30 or 40 seconds or whatever, just playing around. There, I wouldn't jump to the other side,
Yeah.
but but I mean, there's a
Hey,
song.
it's the only way I can jump, so
There's a I wrote a song when my grandpa Peterson passed away. It's just called "Dear
uh-huh.
Grandpa," and then in parentheses it says "Grandpa's Song." I wrote that, and it took me 10 years to put music to it because I never could find anything I liked.
Yeah.
And when I finally got it, I sat down with my phone and videoed it, and I put it on my YouTube channel. That's really my only original. Like, I don't have a whole lot of originals because what I do is just I hear a song, I go, wonder if I can learn how to play that one, and then I'll
Yeah.
spend. Sometimes I'll go on was it ultimateguitar.com or something where you get all the guitar tabs and stuff, and
Yeah.
I'll sit down for 2 or 3 days until I get the song right.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of trying to learn to sing it while I'm strumming because when I first start learning a song, my hand wants to move up and down with my mouth instead of the strum pattern.
Not touching that one. Um um oh, shut up, stupid cat.
Yeah, I don't even know which one that one is because Oreo's right here on my lap.
Um for anybody that doesn't know, Chad is a crazy cat lady. Um
I've only got three, and that last one found us. We didn't find it.
only got 3.
Like, the third one's the one that rode across
That's
town
how
and back under the
that's
hood
how
of my
crazy
truck.
that's how crazy cat ladies justified. I only got 3,
No,
and one found us.
no, you want to get technical. Whenever I first married Courtney and moved in here, my mother-in-law had fed a stray, and they just kept showing up. They kept and then multiplying, and there was like 24 cats running throughout the yard.
Wow.
So there was the crazy cat lady. It was my mother-in-law.
um as far, I mean, I don't know that, I think we've talked about censorship previously in another episode. Maybe, I don't remember. Um but as far as, I mean, obviously there's quite a bit of censorship of thought nowadays. Um but from your perspective, being even a hobbyist, but uh
That damn Tamagotchi. I
yeah,
didn't even know
I
it was in
swear,
here.
people, we are not in the 90s. The Tamagotchis are back, unfortunately. And yeah, but um looking at it from a musician's standpoint, should any medium of art, be it music, visual, anything like that, should any art be censored in any way or banned?
I mean, depending on the platform, as long as it's not violating their community guidelines or whatever, I don't see why it should be. And like DeviantArt, I think you can.
Deviant art, there's no rules, basic. Well, there
I mean,
are
don't I
rules,
think you
but
have to? Is it you got to put it the NSFW or whatever?
yeah.
So
Um, but what I mean is overall, no medium of art should be banned. Like there are always places that will accept it.
Yeah,
Um, but as far as artists being banned for their personal beliefs,
yeah, I don't agree with that.
um, that just blows my mind. Like a lot of the people in the commentary community on YouTube get, videos taken down. They'll get their channel taken down every once in a while because people get butthurt that, they have bad opinions or wrong think. Um, but I think it reaches another level of lunacy when you go after them for something completely different because I can speak to as far as Tim's music, it's relatively apolitical. Like there's nothing political about it.
Yeah,
Um, it's more it's more of a social commentary of what's going on in the world because if you look back to when we were growing up, if Billy Joel released We Didn't Start the Fire Today and had, and I wish he honestly would do an updated version of that song based on what we're dealing with today. Um but I'll go into that in a second. But if Billy Joel released We Didn't Start the Fire Today with all of the socio-political references that he makes in that song, I can honestly say that the kids today, the younger generation at least, or the professional victims, um, would absolutely try to cancel him and get that banned. Don't you
oh
think?
yeah,
Because I think for me, I've always said that song, even though I love history, that song actually helped me understand history better. Um, because it was two things that I liked put together. Um, but yeah, it's really disappointing to think that something that important would be essentially banned and shunned today. Um, it's I don't know. It's disheartening, and it with everything that you, me, and Amanda are doing creatively. Um, it just it doesn't make me want to stop doing what we're doing, but even though nothing that we are doing is anywhere close to political, it makes me wonder if we would get any pushback with anything we're doing. And if we were to get pushback, I can't even see a reason why we would.
yeah,
And I think it's the same for what Tim and Five Times August are going through. I don't know what Five Times August's music is like. I've never heard of the band. I did look them up, but didn't get a chance to listen to any of their stuff. Um, but it's just I don't know. I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but I don't agree with censorship of any kind.
yeah,
Um, because we've had that in the past, and obviously it didn't work. Um, and I think the people that remember those periods of time where we weren't maybe able to say as much as we wanted to, I think that people that are still around from that era need to grow a pair and start, making more noise against what's going on and start speaking up because once it affects one person, it's going to end up affecting everybody.
yeah.
Um, but if you had to, I mean, I know this is gonna hurt, or this would hurt anybody's brain who has, logic and rationale. If you had to put your brain in the mode of the perpetually offended, um, what justification could you even come up with for trying to get people banned for wrong think or bad opinions?
I honestly don't know. I mean, to put myself into that mindset, I'd probably have to go hang out with those people just to see how they operate. Because, you know, I don't know, because I'm always the one laughing at the people getting offended by stuff.
Yeah.
Me, you, and Amanda have talked about people getting offended about stuff all the time. It's like, you know what happens when you get offended? Nothing. The world's going to keep spinning and stuff's going to happen the way it's supposed to, whether you're offended or not.
Yep.
So,
I think more kids need to be taught that being offended is absolutely subjective. It's based on the individual.
yeah,
And, you know, because I think, I don't think anybody really sets out to offend others. I mean, comedians maybe, but I don't think they tend to try and offend others. I think they just tend to try and open up the minds of other people just to think, you know, just to see things from a different perspective. That's what they do. So I don't necessarily think you could say that comedians set out to offend people. Um, I know that they say that there is offensive music, or, you know, at least, our parents said that there was offensive music. But I think that once we became adults and our parents started actually hearing our music, they realized that it wasn't actually offensive. They just didn't want us listening to it that young, maybe. Um, but if we were listening to it that young, we had to have had some sort of um, connection to it,
yeah,
because there's plenty of music that I've heard that I can't connect with,
yeah,
just because it it's either I personally think that it sounds like shit, or I just don't connect with the message, because there are certain styles of music that the way that they convey their message, it just doesn't resonate with me. So I'm not going to understand what they're trying to say.
right.
Um, and I recently listened to somebody new that I was made aware of, and I wasn't, I really, shut up, Tamagotchi.
If I knew
Uh,
that was in here, I would have took it down to her room. I'm sorry. I had no
no,
idea.
no, it's a live stream. It's not a podcast episode, so I'm less concerned about it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. And I didn't grow up in the era that this happened, but it makes me think about the stories that I've heard about the era where special needs individuals were thought to be not capable of contributing to society, so they were automatically put in asylums. And I would say, for the most part, even though I am very articulate in the way that I interact with people, I think that there would even be some call to try and institutionalize me in some way. So I look at that, and I look at the way that people are trying to silence others now, and it blows my mind that these people who are doing all of this against others call themselves progressive because they don't know the meaning of the fucking word.
Right.
Because that is so regressive, and I don't know, like, I don't like all the labels, so but to call yourself one thing, but the way that you act is completely opposite of what you consider yourself or what you say you are. Oh, it hurts my brain, dude.
Yeah.
Um,
I just want
like,
to
is there
put this out there. You
what's that?
you said about there would be a call to institutionalize you. I can tell you now, if that was to ever have happened, me and Amanda would go all 18 and like break you out of the mental house. Yeah. we'd get up there and find ways to get you out of there just like they did Murdoch on 18.
Yeah, and you know what? She would end up being B.A. Baracus. She would, and don't nobody come for me for that, because she's a little blonde white girl and B.A. Baracus was a gigantic black man. Don't come for me for that. But I think characteristically, that's a word, right?
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
is.
Characteristically, I can see her behaving in the same way as the character of B.A. Baracus, and just really just fucking shit up.
She gonna bust through the door and be like, "I pity the fool, lock up my friend."
Oh my god. Oh wow. Yeah. Poor Amanda. We've talked about her on what, 3 separate episodes so far,
Yeah, I think so.
and she still can't come on to defend herself. Um,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
when you were picking on me on that, when y'all were the guests on that podcast that time, and she said he's not here to defend
Oh,
himself, and you were like, "Well, that's the best time to do it."
yeah. I mean, yeah. I did say that. We won't talk about that podcast though, because
Yeah.
they kind of excommunicated us and stopped talking to us because they're a bunch of
See,
assholes.
they banned y'all.
No, they didn't ban us. They just basically stopped talking to us. Um, and they were ended up being part of the, as mouthy as they claim to be, they ended up being part of the perpetually offended group, um, which is disappointing. But I don't know, like, we've definitely got to get some of your stuff recorded and um, sounding professional, or as professional as we can, and get it put up on Reverb Nation. Um, because until the Space Hay version of MySpace decides to put in a music category again, like the old MySpace had, um, I think everybody needs to discover Reverb Nation, because I absolutely love that website. Just the layout is just beautiful, and its user interface, um, and just the way that it flows is amazing. And I wish, what I want to do, maybe as a follow up, maybe I will, and I apologize to anybody if you can hear that I'm actually cracking my knuckles because my fingers hurt. Got a bunch of little old grannies saying, "That's why your fingers hurt, because you're cracking your knuckles." Fuck you, granny. Um,
If you pop your knuckles, you'll never get a ring on it.
okay, Beyonce.
I should have known not to do that every time I change my voice. Every time.
um, but do you? And here's the last question I'll pose to you: Do you think it? Do you think it's that they really didn't like the music that Tim and Five Times August were putting out, or do you think it was solely based on their personal views on things? Because I think you and I are of the same mindset. If we don't like something, as far as consuming any sort of art medium, but keeping it in the realm of music for this purpose, we're just not going to listen to it. It's
Right.
like, if I can't if my ears can't tolerate listening to something, I'm not gonna try and get the fucking music taken down. I'm
Right.
just not gonna listen to it because my head can't deal with it.
Yeah. Well, I know I brought this song up one of the streams we were on before, but I can't stand WAP. I when I was at a school. Well, it was an early college, and it was a summer job for senior pictures.
Yeah,
So there was a whole lot of administration there from the school.
yeah.
But one of the guys I was working with heard it on the way to work, and he pulled him. He's like, "Y'all got to hear this song." And he starts listening, or starts playing it, and I'm sitting there going, "What the hell is this?" You know, it's like I can't stand the song. I've never told nobody don't listen to it, because everybody has likes different music. But
Right. And I would go so far as to say I would never even tell anybody not to listen to it when I'm around,
yeah,
because even if somebody wants to listen to it when I'm around, I, for whatever reason, have the ability to tune it out. And which, I mean, when I was younger, maybe not, but I don't know. I can't say that. Never mind. There is. I'll type it in the private chat. There, there's certain music that just feels like an assault on my ears and on my brain. And there's one particular song that my mom doesn't like, and um, it's the Usher, Little John, and Ludacris. Yeah, and this, I'll put it in the private chat. This is what she calls it. She said that it is akin to that, and she'll start every time the song comes on. She'll go, "Oh, it's this song." And-
I'm gonna have to start calling that song. Okay, so one of the guys from BTS
yeah,
paid the original artist for the rights to make a cover of to me it's the most god awful song in the world, but Chicken Noodle Soup. I don't know if you remember that old song from when we were.
I do, and I like it, but it is annoying as hell. Like, I listen to it kind of ironically, just because it's annoying, but it's also kind of fun to listen to.
I don't know what it is. Like I had never heard the song before, and Courtney's like, "Oh, he paid the original artist. I forget how much money to get the rights to re-record it or whatever." And he's got I don't know if she's just Latina or if she's actually Spanish, but she's Hispanic descent. And doing this, like she does part of the song, he does the other part of the song, and she starts playing it, and it gets about 30 seconds in, and I felt something up here in my brain going, and I was like, you got to turn that off, stop it. So now every time they want to get back at me, if I'm picking on them or something, my wife and daughter will start playing that song, and I'm like, oh God, and like I'm gonna go run out the door. I'm gonna go crank my radio up in my truck just so I don't have to listen to this shit. But
Yeah.
I'll be like, I told them, I said, y'all can listen to that song all y'all want to, as long as I'm not around. You know,
Yeah.
I already got to sit here and
Um,
listen to y'all play BTS all the time. Please don't play that one song, at least not while
yeah.
I'm around. Yeah,
Well, and I think for me, and I think I've actually told you about when I did this. For me, like I may not actively listen to certain songs or certain artists. Taylor Swift.
right there with you.
um, but there was something I did with my cousin Chloe several years ago, and I told her because there's quite an age gap between the two of us, and I told her I'm like, okay, I want you to give me if we didn't know each other because we we know each other, but she's not actually my blood relative because she is a relative from my mom's on my mom's side, my grandfather's side of the family, but my grandfather on my mom's side of the family is not actually my blood grandfather. I think I've explained that to you before.
I believe you
But
have.
all of his relatives are from West Virginia. And so my cousin Chloe is on that side of the family. So she's not in any way genetically related to me. So because I believe she's still in high school, and I don't remember how old she was when I asked her to do this, but I told her, I'm like, if I was just meeting you and getting to know you, I'm like, give me 5 songs that I can listen to that would help me get to know you. And for her generation, I don't think anyone has ever really posed that type of question because not only does it help somebody like me connect with the younger generation, it actually makes the younger generation sit there and evaluate, hey, how do I actually get older people to understand me and connect with me? And I think that if we pose that question on a larger scale, it may actually be easier to understand the psychosis of Gen Z. Um, because ugh. Uh, oh, this is why I can't have kids. This is why I'm not allowed to have kids, just because ugh. They would be the youngest they would be the youngest Gen X or boomers ever. um but no, what she ended up giving me was fascinating. They were all artists that I was at least marginally familiar with, at least by name, but I had never actively listened to their music and I never actually would. But because she sent me those songs, I took the time to listen to those specific songs. And I'm sure now if I asked her as she's gotten a little older, she would probably give me 5 different ones. And that is the beauty of understanding how you change and evolve as a person as you get older. And I think that a lot of the younger generation and even younger millennials don't understand how much they will change over the course of their lives. They will change several times over the course of their lives.
Yeah.
I didn't, and there was a point where I didn't even understand that. I thought that I would be the same person all the way through. And to be honest with you, looking back, I'm glad I'm not.
It's like when I was in fifth grade, and I'm sure they did it in other grades too, but fifth grade's the one I actually paid attention to it.
Yep.
First day of school, our teacher gave us the paper. So answer these questions because at the end of the year, you're getting the same paper again and you're going to fill it out again and you're going to compare your answers. And it was like, what is your favorite song? What's your favorite TV show? What's your favorite color? Well, when I got my paper back, or when I filled it out the second time, the only questions I can remember was my favorite song, and to this day, it's still my favorite. My all-time favorite song is "Home Sweet Home" from Motley Crue. I don't know
Why did I
what it
know?
is.
Why did I know it was gonna be Motley Crue?
I don't know why. I don't know what it is about that song, but that's the song that got me started listening to them. And that's the song when everybody says, "What's your favorite song?" I'm like, my favorite song
Well,
ever, or my favorite song from a certain artist.
and you actually, I think you just answered your own question. It's because that was the song that got you listening to them.
Yeah. But I
Um,
mean, out of everything I listen to, the country music I listen to, the rock and roll I listen to, that's the one song that I always like. If I was to give you 5 songs, and then
mhm,
say in 10 years I gave you 5 songs again, "Home Sweet Home" is going to be number one. The other four
yeah,
songs might be changed, but
right.
that one's going to be up there.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. It's the balance of evolution versus consistency. And there's always gonna be you're always gonna have constants in your life, and I think that's great, because, like I said, there's a balance. But, I always kind of make it a broad statement when I say that Guns N' Roses got me listening to music, but more specifically, Paradise City. Um, I don't know that I would say it's my favorite song by them, because now that I know their entire catalog, I have other favorites. But it is, I would say that, at least from that perspective, it is my favorite because it was what got me listening to them.
Yeah,
Um, but I do think, in the Guns N' Roses scheme of things, there are other songs that I would probably more actively listen to, but I would still fall back on Paradise City because that's what got me listening to them.
yeah. Um, I think it was this. Yeah, not last summer, but the year before. We were packing our equipment up from a senior job,
Yeah.
and I said something about I want to hear some music. You know, we had a speaker we'd been listening to music through off somebody's phone, and it died. And I
Mhm.
was like, I want to hear some music while we're tearing everything apart. And this little woman named Crystal, she's probably in her 60s. She's like, "Well, what's your favorite song?" I said, "Well, my favorite song of all time is Home Sweet Home from Motley Crue." So she pulls it up on her phone and she plays it. She's like, "Okay, that song's not too bad." And then the autoplay was on. The next song that started coming on was Wild Side. I was like, "No, no, no, you need to stop that song right now. Stop that one." She said, "Why?" I said, "Well, for one, we're in a school. For
Yeah.
two, you are big in the church and you are not shy about how religious you are, and you do not want to listen to that song because it is highly sacrilegious." I said, "Just stop it now before they even start singing." Yeah, but I just couldn't bring myself to let it start playing and let her start hearing those words because she probably would have chewed me out.
Oh, yeah. And that's another thing, like, I would never I mean, I jokingly judge people for the music they listen to, but I never actually seriously mean it,
Yeah,
because it makes me understand them and where they are in their life. Because you can tell where somebody is, kind of, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's necessarily right to say in their life cycle, because that sounds kind of weird, but you can tell, like, where they are characteristically in their life based on the music they listen to.
yeah,
And you can tell what's going on in their life based on the music they listen to. Like, a lot of my friends when we were in high school, you know, I had the friends who would listen to the older stuff that came out before we were born. But as far as, like, modern music, at least for that time, um, I think I think I had a window into a lot of the trouble that my friends were seeing at home because a lot of them were listening to very early Eminem,
Mm,
like the first 2 albums, and I think you could really tell by the way that they carried themselves and by what they were listening to what was going on at home. And, um, I think that, um, when it comes to a not to be cliche and, actually bring music into it to use this, but if somebody's coming from a broken home, understanding the art that they're connected to is going to help you understand them. It doesn't matter what kind of art it is. Whatever art they're drawn to is going to help you understand, hey, that's where this person is in their head. And
right.
the reason I say I didn't want to sound cliche is Broken Home is actually a song by Papa Roach
Ah,
off off their first album. Um and I think I had yeah, I started listening to Papa Roach when they first came out in 2000, and then I think because I was dealing with some stuff at home, and because I started listening to Papa Roach and Linkin Park at the same time.
yeah,
But I think what really made me see things from another perspective as far as Papa Roach's music is there's a movie called Pay It Forward, and there is a scene in the movie where Helen Hunt's character and John Bon Jovi's character are fighting in the living room, and Haley Joel Osment, who is the little kid in the movie, um, he goes into his room, and to drown them out, he throws on I think it's Broken Home. It's either Broken Home or Last Resort. And it actually made me understand more why I was listening to it, because there was a situation where when my mom was going through her divorce from the first thing she married, um, as you can tell, I have no respect for him. Um, but there was a situation that happened when they were going through a divorce where they got into a verbal fight in the living room. And for some reason, he decided to burst through my door, and he was directing his comments toward me, and I had already had my headphones on, so I didn't, I mean, I understood what he was saying because I could read lips. Um, but what was weird to me and why I think Pay It Forward connected with me was because, see, yeah, Papa Roach came out in 2000. Mom started going through her divorce in 2000. And so I was literally sitting on my bed listening to them while they were arguing out in the living room. Fast forward to 2001 when I first saw Pay It Forward, Haley Joel Osment, his character, sitting on his bed with his basically with his comforter over his head while his mom and dad, and I'm granted the guy or that my mom was married to wasn't my dad, but um his mom and dad are fighting in the living room, and then the dad burst through the door of Haley Joel Osment's room. But um Haley Joel Osment, I don't think, was listening to the song on headphones. And so the reason that he burst through the door wasn't necessarily to address the child based on their argument. It was the fact that um, he wanted him to turn the music down
yeah.
because he had cranked it up so loud so that he didn't have to hear them. So that just resonated with me on so many levels. I know, I see it too. Hi, Denise. I was the same way with Papa Roach, Lincoln Park, S- SODs. Is that System of a Down and Tool? Mostly because I didn't have a connection with my siblings growing up because I spent majority of my time in the hospital. Oh yeah. Um, SOD. I think that's System of a Down, but I usually see that stylized as
See,
SOAD.
see, I saw that and I was sitting there going SOD, and I'm sitting there in my head going, does she mean POD? And then you said System of a Down. I forgot all about them.
Yeah, like I said, usually I see that stylized as SOAD, so I got a
Yeah.
little confused. That's probably what she means though. But yeah, I mean, it's weird that just a year later, after that, unfortunate interaction that I had with my mom's husband at the time, that I literally saw the same thing happen in a fucking movie.
Oh yeah, she
Limited,
said it's System of a Down.
yeah, limited character System of a Down. Yeah, um, yeah. I mean, to tie it all together, I think because of the broad spectrum of um, music that's out there, we need to we need to teach the younger generation what our parents taught us as far as separating the art from the artists and still being able to appreciate the art that they create. Now, when it comes to um I will, straight out say I can no longer listen to Rage Against the Machine because of I understand that they've always been a political band, but the messages that they are now supporting are not something that I can support. And this is why the majority of their fans, even or their old school fans, are now calling them uh, Rage in favor of the machine, because they used to be like an anarchist, against authority, against big government and whatnot. But with the messages that they've been, perpetuating and promoting over the last few years, a lot of people have resorted to calling them, rage in favor of the machine. Um, but I don't know that it, takes away from listening to their earlier stuff, but it does make you think, if you are willing to change your perspective on things purely for the money, you know, are you a true artist?
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's I guess I don't need a lot because anything I've ever done, I've never done it for money. I mean, you know, the few videos I got on my YouTube channel, I just put them up there because I wanted somebody else to hear it. I didn't care how many people heard it,
yeah.
you know.
And I think that's really, I mean, there are a lot of people that say, "Oh, I do art for my own, therapeutic reasons," which is entirely valid, completely valid. But I think that if you're doing something musically, visually, um, in written form, I think ultimately at one point or another you're going to want somebody to see it,
Yeah.
because you're going you do it so so you can try to understand what's going on in your head. But I think ultimately, because human connection is, what we try to obtain, or is what we, generally go for, because it's just a natural human reaction, is to try and connect with others. I think eventually you're going to want somebody to see that piece of art that you created, what
Right.
regardless of what medium it is. So, I mean, whether you do it for personal reasons or for monetary reasons, I don't necessarily think it matters. Uh, I can't listen to country no matter. Oh, you're in the wrong chat for that. Chad loves country.
I mean, I do
uh,
love country, but I don't try to push it on people.
right. No, I know.
You know,
Um, I can't, no matter how times I try to listen, but I associate country with motion sickness. Having only been able to listen to country on road trips. Oh, yeah, I can understand that because um eventually people are going to get really sick of hearing me talk about Guns N' Roses, but um I associate Guns N' Roses and Paradise City with a specific ride at the theme park where I grew up because that was the first time I heard it was on that ride. Um so I absolutely understand associating it with a specific time or event or, what have you. Um but yeah, I absolutely understand that. Um is there, like, as far as, that, is there something that, like, a song that you can associate with something in that, like, with that nature, kind of a place or thing, or
nothing comes to mind right off hand, right off the bat. But I mean, yeah, I don't think I really associate music with any particular thing that I've ever been through,
yeah.
except for um,
King Bob.
um,
Sorry.
I know you're good. uh, Whenever I went to that Wetzel concert back in October,
Yeah.
I didn't know how much I needed to go to that show until I went
Yeah.
because I didn't let y'all see it when we would video chat, but I was in a dark place up here
Mhm.
because that concert was like 3 weeks after Grandpa died.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And we got to that concert, and when the twins were like, "If we get you a ticket, will you drive?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. It's a free concert. Why wouldn't I go?" Colby Cooper opened the show. Jelly Roll was the second opener, and I'm like, they really put on a good show. Wetzel come out. He put on a good show,
Mhm.
and for whatever reason, I gravitated towards his music more.
Yeah.
But it helped pull me out of that depression.
Yeah.
Like when we would video chat or I'd be around friends, I would joke around and act like I was all like I always do. But in
Mhm.
here and in here,
Yeah.
I was like in a dark room.
You kind of split yourself and you were constantly in two different places.
Yeah.
You were, part of you was here, part of me was there. Yeah, I can understand that.
And
Um
his music just helped pull me out of that dark place.
yeah.
So
That's interesting. After we get off stream, I think we're going to have to look that up. Bluegrass and rap. I've never heard that combination before.
I don't
I
think
think
I
we're
have either.
I think we're going to have to look up examples of that. And also, Bob, please do me a favor. Do not tell Royce that I stole his, you know, not intro, but his the way that he addresses you, because Royce from A Drink with Crazy over on Gilded, um, every time King Bob comes into any of his live streams, he'll like out of nowhere, even if he's in the middle of saying something, he'll at the top of his lungs he'll just scream out King Bob, kind of like because that's what they do in Minions, I think is what it is.
I was about to say, is that where he got the name from?
Possibly, I believe. Yeah, because his icon is King
Oh,
Bob.
I see that now.
But Wow, we went longer than I thought we were because I was gonna end like at the 30 mark. We went definitely over what I thought we were going to.
He said Royce named
Oh,
him.
wow, that's cool. Um, I didn't know that. See, I love that community. Like, I love those guys over there, and I think it's I think being over in a drink with crazy, and I think being part of that community has mellowed me out a little, and I think it's helped me refocus a little, because I didn't there was so much going on, both personally and creatively, that was kind of making my brain go, "What the hell's going on? Get me off this."
Yeah.
Um, that I think finding, that community has actually helped me start to refocus, which is extremely helpful. Uh, oh, it was Captain Bob, but Royce kept calling me King Bob. Okay, were you there? I think it was Bob. Were you there the other night when Royce addressed somebody in the comments and he said, I kept calling him this, but this is actually his name. I forget what the name was, but he kept referring to this one person by the wrong name, and it was just simply because he was reading it wrong. Um, which I can understand where he would, read it wrong because I've done the same thing. Um, but yeah, it's I think addressing somebody, you're addressing them also in the state of mind that you're in. So if you end up, calling them by a different name or something that sounds similar to their name, I think that's part of, okay, you acknowledge that, you heard their name, but your brain interprets it as something different, I think. I don't know, I'm probably rambling, but and that probably doesn't make sense, but um uh no, I don't know. It was somebody's actual name. Like or however they had their name stylized. Because he was reading the comments from last week's Coffee with Crazy that he does on Sundays, and somebody in the comments who I guess he had read their comments before but kept calling them the wrong name. I don't know. Um but yeah, Chad, we got to get you more active over on in that Gilded server cuz um of the section that they have in the server for posting your photos, and
Yeah.
then for the fact that Trippy Soul was looking for somebody to help him write lyrics to a song. So we got to get you more active over there because that's a fun crew. That's a fun group
I got
to.
to find more time to be at home. I'm, I just stay on the go.
Yeah, and I mean sometimes that's really how you have to operate, you know, for your own well being. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this was a good chat, and I think now we have to log off, go find music within that genre that he
Yeah.
was
Let's see.
talking
He
about.
said down here, I just
Rap and
gangsta grass.
bluegrass,
It said rap and
gangster.
bluegrass, and then up above it, gangsta grass is what he put.
I mean, I wonder if grass is what the rap community calls marijuana. I mean, think about it. Most rap artists, or at least the good rap artists, not the ones of today, but the most rap artists started out their younger, their younger days in gangs, and that's where they get their stories from. That's why I can't stand rap today, because rap today is not storytelling. Rap that we grew up with was storytelling. They were telling stories about the things that they experienced. They weren't talking about things that they weren't glorifying anything. They were saying, "Hey, stay the fuck away from this."
Yeah,
Um they weren't glorifying anything and trying to draw people to it. Um but
I
yeah.
think you said Gangsta Grass is the name of the band.
Oh, that's an wow, that's a creative name actually. But yeah, I think we should get on a video chat, or a direct video chat that's not so public, and look that up and see what we think about it.
All right.
So, guys, thank you for being here. I know you guys came in late and, probably missed a little, or the first half of the video, but if you go back and listen to it, let us know your thoughts on the first half of it, and we will talk. Well, I will talk to you tomorrow morning, because Chad has to do, the adult, mature,
That
responsible things.
horrible four-letter word.
Work.
Work.
Sounded like one of the Budweiser. Work. All right. Have a good day, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.